Hello and namaste. Today's class is all about balancing Kapha Dosha. So, more energizing, uplifting, holding the harder poses for a little bit longer than you might like, but all of that is in an effort to kind of lift you up and motivate you a little bit more. So, as for props, I have blocks at the front of my mat in case I want them for transitions. I don't really use a whole lot of props for this class. There's a few times where I mention possibly wanting to use props, so as always, have them nearby. It never hurts to have them around in case you want them, but you shouldn't need any props for today's class. So let's get started. I also want to give a quick disclaimer that today I am pretty sore in my joints, most notably my shoulders and wrists, so I take quite a few modifications and variations during today's class, so what I say might be a little bit different than what I'm physically doing, and that's because I'm trying to honor my own body, so just a quick heads up on that. Let's start in Tadasana pose at the front of your mat, mountain pose. Feet whatever width apart is comfortable. Hands either in prayer or down along your sides. Take a very deep, energetic breath in and sigh it out. Do that a few more times. Foster a little smile. Start to bring your energy up. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, gaze up. Stay here, maybe bend back a little bit, opening through the upper back, opening the chest up towards the sky. Pull your arms down, angel wings, elbows down and back. Open through the chest. Palms facing you, palms facing center. Arms back overhead. And then bring them all the way down to the floor. Swan dive to forward fold, Uttanasana. On an inhale, lift halfway up. Hands can be on blocks, on shins, on thighs, straight back. Exhale, fold forward. Plant the hands, step the feet back to plank pose. Option to place the knees down, lower down, all the way to the floor. Inhale for baby cobra, no weight in the hands, lifting through the chest, through the heart. Exhale, lower down. Stay here. On an inhale, lift up baby cobra again. Squeeze the muscles of your butt. Nice and firm, pushing the tops of the feet down onto your mat. Option here for a more full cobra, pushing up into the hands, straightening a little bit more through the elbows for a little bit more of a back bend. On your next exhale, lower all the way down. Push yourself up to tabletop and back, downward facing dog. Making an upside down V shape. You can pedal out the feet, bend one knee at a time. Whatever feels good here. I encourage you to find some movement here. Keeping very buoyant and light sensation through the hips here in your down dog. Waking up those arm muscles, holding up the body. Keeping as much of a bend in the knees as feels comfortable. Look to the hands, make your way to the front of your mat, forward fold. Bend deeply into the knees, lift the chest, lift the arms for chair pose. However low you want the hips to go, lower is more difficult, higher is a little less difficult. Challenge yourself, don't phone it in. Arms ideally are up overhead, gaze is up. The hands can be also down in prayer if that's more comfortable. Good, everyone bring the hands in prayer. Stand up tall, Tadasana. Step the right foot all the way back, opening up for warrior two. Back heel spins down, keeping bent in the left knee, straight through the right knee. And the chest is opening up towards the long edge of the mat. Few breaths here, looking out over that left hand. On an inhale, reverse your warrior, bringing the right arm down along the right leg, left arm up, overhead, possibly gaze overhead, feeling the expansiveness through the chest. Good, return to warrior two and bring both arms down to the mat. Planting the right hand down, we're going to set up for a side plank with the right hand down. So you can plant the right hand, step the left foot straight back into side plank, or both hands down, bring both feet back to a regular plank, and then transition to a side plank, whatever you choose. Making our way to side plank, both legs can be up, or you can have the bottom knee down, or you can have the top leg up and over so the foot is down on the mat, whatever variation you choose. Again, working on challenging yourself, pushing yourself. Kaphas tend to be more focused on rest and not pushing ourselves, so it's important to counteract that and really challenge your endurance and your strength because you've got it. Good, bring both hands down, plank pose, lower down to the belly. Inhale for baby cobra or full cobra, or upward facing dog if that's in your practice. On an exhale, lower everything down, push yourself up to table or plank, and back, downward facing dog. Get any wiggles out here, find some movement. Keeping that enthusiasm, that motivation, that light energy. Walking the feet forward. Forward fold, the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Bending deeply in the knees, chair pose. Gaze is up, arms are up, if that suits you today. Maybe giving yourself a little smile here in your chair. Feeling the work of the legs, the work of the core as you maintain this chair pose for one more breath. Bring the hands into prayer, straighten the legs, Tadasana. And then step the left foot back for warrior two on the other side. Left heel spins down, opening up through the hips, opening up through the chest towards the left long edge of the mat. feeling sturdy and stable in the lower half, and then feeling a sense of lightness and airiness in the top half through the waist and up. Maintain that deep breath if you can. On an inhale, reverse your warrior. Left arm comes down along that left leg. Right arm up overhead. Gaze up overhead. Feeling that little bit of a bend in the back. Feeling the openness through the chest, through the shoulders. Keeping that bend in the front knee. Good. Come back to warrior two, and then bring both hands down to the mat, transitioning to a side plank on the left hand. So left hand comes down, transitioning in whatever way and however many steps feels good and is necessary for you. Any variation of side plank here, this side might feel a little bit different, so it might call for a slightly different version of side plank. Option to gaze either straight forward or up towards the sky. Looking up really helps energize us, it helps lift us and create some buoyancy in our practice, which is really important for Kapha Dosha. Hold here for another breath or two, find that strength. Good, bring both hands down. Transition to a plank pose. Lower all the way down, either with the knees down or not. All the way onto the belly. This time we're going to bring, if you have the mobility in the shoulders, bring your arms behind you so that your hands are on the back of your head. We're going to set up for a locust variation. So hands on the back of your head. If that's not comfortable, stay with your baby cobra hands, or you can bring the arms down along your sides. To start, before you move any of your limbs, pull the low belly in, engage the glute muscles of your butt. Now keep that, lift the head, lift the chest, pull the elbows back, and then option to also lift your feet. Lift both feet, find some energy through the toes. Feel that same energy pulling up through the crown of the head. So you're one long line, almost like a banana shape of energy. Feeling the muscles of the back along the spine working, feeling the glutes working, the hamstrings and the backs of the thighs working. Stay here for one more breath. Good, lower all the way down. And then push yourself up to table or plank and back, downward facing dog. Stay here for a few breaths in your downward facing dog. Finding some movement if you choose, or maybe being a little bit more still. This is a very active pose, even in stillness. Maybe adding that smile back in if you've lost it. Keeping that enthusiasm, that joy in your practice today. Look to the hands, make your way to forward fold at the front of your mat. On an inhale, lift halfway up, long spine, long back of the neck. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, arms up, gaze up. For upward salute, stay for your breath out. Pull the fingertips up towards the sky. Exhale, angel wings like we started class, pulling the elbows down and back. Palms are facing the center. Open through the chest, open through the heart. Lift that energy up, up, up. Exhale, hands in prayer, Tadasana. Good, we're gonna set up for tree pose. If you need a wall for balance, go find one. Otherwise, we'll work through the several stages of tree pose here. So we're going to start with lifting the right leg. So plant the left foot firmly into the earth. Step one is kickstanding that right ankle, right heel onto the left ankle. If that feels sturdy enough, you can bring that right foot to the left calf, or maybe all the way up to the inner thigh. You can use your hand or hands to help guide that foot up to the inner thigh if that's the option you're taking. Now with the hands, they can be on the hips, they can be in prayer, they can be up to the sky. If you've got the balance, I encourage you to play with looking up, feeling that airiness, that lightness through the chest, up through the head, through the arms. No matter where the arms are, feel that lifting energy. Everything is engaged here. Everything is lifted. The only thing that's grounding you is one foot. Feel that. Take one more breath. And gently lower the right foot down. And when you're ready, setting up for the opposite side. Planting firmly through the right foot, starting with a kickstand of the left foot, maybe up to the calf, maybe up to the inner thigh. Being careful not to push your foot into your right knee, pulling that knee outward. It's not very nice to that joint. Once you feel sturdy through the lower half, find your best option for the upper half. The arms can be in prayer. You can have those angel wings again. You can have the arms up overhead. If you feel stable, maybe bringing the gaze up overhead, finding that smile again if you lost it. It's amazing what just a simple upturn of the lips, how that can change your whole vibe. Keeping that energy lifted, keeping the breath strong. And if you lose your balance, laugh to yourself and just get right back into it. Take one more breath here. And lower that foot down, Tadasana, hands in prayer, deep breath in. Exhale, drop the arms down. Inhale, sweep them up overhead, gaze up. Exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Last down dog of class today. One breath here. Exhale, come down to the knees. And we're going to make our way onto our backs. We're going to set up for bridge pose. So, on your back, knees are bent, feet flat. Feet can be a couple 3 inches apart from one another, or they can be wider. Find what's comfortable for you, for your pelvis, for your legs. Same thing with the distance between the heels and your hips. So maybe scrunch them up so that the heels are really close to the hips, then maybe walk them a little further out, find a good spot. Arms down along the sides. And when you're ready, squeeze your butt, lift your hips for bridge. Keeping the chin relaxed, so not pulling the chin down towards the chest, keeping the chin a little bit lifted so you have a little bit of arch through that cervical spine, through the neck. Squeeze the butt to lift the hips a little bit higher if you've got it. And then option to either clasp the hands underneath you, or what I'm going to do is place my hands on my low back to kind of support through the lower back with my hands. The elbows are kind of down along my sides, almost underneath. Option to stay here if you're doing the hand variation that I am with the hands on the low back. You can maybe start to pull one knee up towards the chest, and then maybe straighten that leg up towards the sky, almost doing a shoulder stand prep or shoulder stand variation here. Lowering that foot down to your supported bridge, and then maybe lifting the left knee up towards the chest, maybe straightening that leg out. Same thing, opposite side. If you're in full bridge without supporting with the hands, you can come down at any point. If you're doing the leg lifts, maybe try to lift one and then both knees up towards the chest. Then maybe straighten one leg, then maybe the other leg. You can alternate legs or try to straighten both together. Just for a little bit of inversion play here. If you feel crunchy at all in the low back, don't do this. And in the future, you can place a couple blankets underneath the shoulders to give your neck a little bit more space. To try this in the future without irritating your neck. Once you've done all of your playing, you can squeeze the glutes again to lift the hips a little bit higher, release the arms down, release the hips down. Back bending is great for Kapha Dosha. It really helps bring up that energy. It's very stimulating, which is great for Kapha Dosha. And we always love an inversion. That's always good for us. A little bit of shoulder stand variation play. So let's hug both knees in towards the chest. Release that low back a little bit. You can maybe draw some circles with the knees. One way, the other way. And then when you're ready, bring both knees over towards the left for a twist. Legs are over to the left. Shoulders stay down on the mat if you can. Maybe gaze over to the right for a deeper twist. You can start to slow the breath, relax the breath. We're setting up for our final Shavasana. So starting to wind down here. Gently bring the knees up to center. Give them a hug, maybe a few more circles if you did that before, or maybe if you didn't. And then bring both knees over towards the right, twisting the opposite way. Props are great for this twist. You can put something between the knees or maybe under the knees. Bring both knees up to center. Give them one last hug. And then extend the legs long for Shavasana. Typically, Kapha Dosha, we don't want to prop up too much because we don't want you to get too comfortable here. We'll only be here for a few minutes. So if you want to prop yourself up, if you feel a little tension in the low back and you want to put something under the knees, go ahead. Prop up however you'd like, but it is not a necessity. But wherever you're at, letting the body go, finding a spot for the legs and for the arms where you can really relax and release and that you can be comfortable. You can close the eyes or soften the gaze. And just take a few minutes here to let your practice sink in. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Stretch however feels good. Maybe arms up overhead for a good morning stretch. Stretching through the toes all the way up through the fingertips. Rolling over to one side when you're ready. And pushing yourself up to a seat. Hopefully this practice has lent you some energy, some motivation, some inspiration for the rest of your day. I hope to see you again soon. And until next time, be well.